What is good, guys? I am back after just a little hiatus. I think it's been 3 weeks since my last video and everything is fine. I just didn't have the mental capacity to get some films in. I kind of got almost writer's block and I kind of had this crazy self-doubt phase where I feel anything I produced, any idea I came up with was just absolute shite. So I didn't want to make videos until I had something to talk about. However, even though today's topic is a bit of a weird one, I'm just making videos again just to get myself rolling, because today's topic is going to be about the whole year of a bodybuilder. A lot of people think it's just 16 weeks of really hard work to get ready for a show, but it's not. It's an entire year, sometimes 2 years in the making. So I'm going to go through all of the stages as we have to periodize everything into different stages for different times of the year to get ready for a show. And I'm a little bit red in the face because I've just come back from a pretty brutal shoulder workout, so I am quite warm, a little bit sweaty, but I have a great shoulder pump. I don't know if you can see, but this is me with a big shoulder pump, and I thought, let's get a video filmed while I'm in pretty good spirits. So we'll start with the obvious stage and then work an entire loop around for the whole year. So the obvious one is pre-contest. Now it's weird because we don't have an on-season, but we do have an off-season. We just call on-season pre-contest. So I've never heard it being called on-season before, even though that is technically what it is. I guess it's because we don't have an actual season, because shows run pretty much all year round. So we are pre-contest. Even if you have a couple shows in a row and you've done a few shows that year, you're still pre-contest until your last show. And of course, the pre-contest stage is just losing as much body fat as possible while retaining as much muscle mass as possible. And that does require a fair bit of cardio, some pretty hardcore dieting, and just very, very strict on the plan. It's where you should not be going on holiday. You should not be going out to eat every weekend, for instance, like on a date or just out with mates. You shouldn't really be drinking. It is 16 weeks. Some people can get away with 12 weeks, but generally it's 16 weeks of really hardcore work. That is just pre-contest stage. Now, following pre-contest is post-contest. Now, this can either go one or two ways. You can either just take time off, or you can try and attempt a rebound. Now, a lot of people don't believe in a rebound. They think it's just, essentially, they think it's just an excuse to eat and grow and watch the scales go up and not feel bad about it. But if your weight is crashing on, admittedly mine did, but in a good way, if you're not dieting properly, if you're not actually, if you don't have a solid plan and how to reverse diet, I hate that term because you're not reverse dieting, it's just a change of the diet plan. If you don't have a solid plan in how to diet and you just start eating a load of crap, then yeah, of course, it's all going to turn into bad weight and a very small percentage is going to be muscle mass. However, I can't deny that the fastest strength gains, the fastest muscle gains as well, have all come pretty much post-contest. So I'm a big believer in the rebound phase. You just have to get it right and don't have the excuse of, eating a cheat meal every day. Keep your cheat meals to once a week, as you would do in the off season. We'll get to that next. Keep your cheat meals to like once a week and then be on a really strict diet. Have your training on board, and you got to keep your cardio in, because if you just all of a sudden start, go from an hour of cardio a day to no cardio a day, and you also increase your diet by like 500 calories, you're probably going to be like 1,000 calories over in a surplus now compared to what you were before. So terrible idea. You're going to just crash on a load of bad weight doing that. So you got to be pretty careful when you are post-contest. Now, a lot of people, because I said this can branch into two ways, will take time off. So the time off is necessary. It is necessary just to give the body a full rest. You've absolutely smashed it into the ground for the past 12 to 16 weeks of pre-contest, which is the most probably intense part of the year for sure, because you're also in a calorie deficit. So recovery is terrible at the same time, especially towards the tail end of pre-contest prep. So you'd actually want to look at taking a couple weeks off. You can do this before you start the rebounds or after the rebounds, which is just the post-contest is what I like to call it. It's up to you, and it's up to what your body's telling you as well. You do have to listen to your body. If you feel like you need the time off, take the time off. It's not even mentally, because you could probably want to train. We're all bodybuilders. We want to go in the gym and train. We fall in love with training, which is why we became bodybuilders in the first place. But it's sometimes you have to force yourself to rest, and it is listening to your body. So if your ligaments are screaming, you have inflammation everywhere, then that's the time that you should probably take some time off the weight room. But keep your cardio in. Don't just take time off cardio. You've got to keep your cardio in and potentially taper the cardio off within probably 8 to 10 weeks after a contest. But I would always have been a big advocate for keeping cardio in, even during your bulking phase or the off season, which is the next stage and potentially final stage. I guess there's a pre-season, but the off season is your bulking stage. It's just, the goal is to add as much muscle mass as possible for your next show in potentially a year's time or 8 months' time, whenever it will be. But the off season is generally the longest phase of the periodization. I don't know what word to call this. The stages, of all the stages, the bulking phase is the longest phase, simply because muscle growth is not fast. It's a very slow process, so you just got to give it time. You just have to be patient. You have to let the body, go to the gym, have a workout, and have it respond from a stimulus to then recover. And little by little, you will start building muscle mass. Now, the off season is the best time to go on holidays, catch up with your friends, actually have a social life again, because even post-contest, like I say, you should be really strict still. So I would say you got to be careful in post-contest, especially because you are in a environment where your fat cells can easily divide. So when you come to actually lose weight, you don't drop fat cells. Your fat cells are still in the body. You just deplete them. They don't normally die off unless you're really, really digging deep. Then potentially some of them can be, recycled in the body. But generally, after a show, your fat cells can divide because they are filling up so fast. And that's not what you want, because then you have even more fat storage capacity, and you can load your body up. And of course, it's giving you more opportunities to put on bad weight. And it means you have to work even harder the next show to get all of that bad weight back off again, all of that fat cell, fat storage. So summarizing the off-season, it is essentially the bulk side of things. So to summarize the off-season, it is just the bulk. It is just the muscle growth. And that's when you can also plan your holidays, do more socializing, because there's ample amount of time to sort of have the plan work. So the off-season is the time to have your holidays or to go socialize a little bit more, and just to essentially have a bit more normality in life, even though you're still going to be training a pretty strict regime. The food should still be relatively strict, but there's just a bit more space to go out and enjoy yourself. And I say it's the best time to do it in the off-season just because it's the longest stage of the annual cycle. And because it's the longest stage, it also means you have ample amount of time to catch up on your targets, on your goals. Now, there can be a pre-season, but a lot of people will just put this into the tail end of the off-season. And if you're going to call it a pre-season, it's essentially just priming the body to be in a good, healthy place and position to then start your contest prep or your pre-contest stage. Because the pre-contest stage is actually pretty damn unhealthy. You want your body to be in at least a good place before you start then messing with health a little bit, because inevitably your health is going to take a dip with just everything that happens. And you know what I'm talking about during a pre-contest stage. So the pre-contest is somewhat of a maintenance stage, while just making sure your health or any injuries that you may have are just taken care of, and everything's in a very good place to then absolutely smash the body for the next 16 weeks. And there you have it, guys. That is the annual cycle of a bodybuilder. I am back now, and I should be releasing a few videos a week at least. I just wanted to get a nice, easy topic off for me that I can just sit, talk to a camera, minimal editing, and just get some good information off which people might not know about. So that's everything for today, guys. I know this is not exactly the best video I've ever made, but I still would really appreciate if you liked the video, if you learned anything on this. And I just needed to just make this video just to get my mojo back and get confident in front of a camera again, which is the main problem I've been dealing with, just self-doubt and how bad my videos have been recently. So this is just my day one back on YouTube. You expect some much better content, and I'm actually going to be moving house, and which means moving studios. So I'm going to be in a bigger studio, I guess, going forward. So a lot of new things coming from me, a new gym, new studio, new content. Make sure you're following so you don't miss anything, and I will catch you guys in the next video.